I feel like I have the perfect way of saying things just dumb enough.
Just like the dangly thing.
Yeah. I am the Cardi B of art podcast.
Yeah. Intro time.
Intro time without the noise.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel naked?
I do. I feel like, what do I do with my hands?
Just don't shove them down your pants. We'll be good.
Right. All right. It's waiting to dry, everybody.
Yeah.
Hot off the summer months in a not too smoky filled city today, which is pretty good. I am Sergio Lopez.
I'm Josh Lawyer.
And our soundboard is off on assignment today. So, that's just me coming up with an excuse for forgetting it.
Yeah, he's checking out the genocide in Rwanda right now.
Right, yeah. Anyways, best intro ever.
Good times.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We both turned a year older.
That is right.
Yes.
Neither of us wished each other happy birthday on that day.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I hate happy birthday wishes.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of them. I almost want to change my Facebook thing so that no one knows my birthday.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. I have mine on private.
Oh, really? Your
Yeah.
birthday?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an option.
Because, and before it was like people from other countries who don't know me, like wishing me happy birthday the day before.
Right. Yeah, and you hate people from other countries.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing about you that no one knows.
USA. USA.
Yeah, we turned a year older. You went to Tahoe.
I did, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. We stayed at this little condo Airbnb in Truckee, which was actually closer, I think, to the fires that are happening up there than the actual lake itself.
Good move. You like to be close to the heat, close to the drama.
I like to save money.
You're like Airbnb a house in the fire just to save a buck.
Yeah. As long as they got Netflix, I'm good.
Yeah. You're like, I'll just bring extra marshmallows.
Yeah, exactly. S'mores, anyone?
Nice. Did you go on the lake?
We went to the lake. Yeah. Well, I didn't bring anything to swim in, but
Was it as blue as in my dreams? That was my Morgan Freeman.
What? Oh,
Say Guantanamo.
oh, right. Yeah. Good ref. Yeah, it was super smoky when we got there, and so the next day we just stayed in all day and just like binge watched hella stuff.
Nice.
Increased my Always Sunny knowledge.
Hell yeah. That show is so good.
Yeah.
They are fearless.
Yeah, they come up with some dark shit sometimes. But then, we were able to, on Monday, we were actually able to go out to the lake and we did a bunch of painting to make up for our so much indoor time. So that was good.
Did you go in the water?
I didn't. Well, got my shoes a little wet. Other than that,
Why wouldn't you go in the water, Sergio?
because I forgot my stuff to go in the water with.
What does that mean?
Like
Your pink flamingo floaty, or
Yeah,
what are we
exactly.
talking here?
That's exactly right. No, I mean, I hate putting on my shoes and stuff if I have like wet feet and all that.
Oh my God, you're not a water person, Sergio?
I can be sometimes.
Oh no, that's not a thing. You're either a water person or you're not. You're like MJ.
I put my snorkel away for good long ago after that tragic incident.
You put your swimming shorts on one leg at a time.
Yeah. That's how it's done.
Nice. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you get some good painting done?
I got some good little gouache studies. One that I'm thinking I'm going to make into a bigger painting. So, yeah. Out of that, I think I did all right. Since you don't do plein air painting, you probably don't have like this like sort of like almost I don't know, obligation to paint when you're like in a pretty area?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Plein airing is like the first version of kids looking at their phones when they should be enjoying the environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Except my screen is the whole world.
If I'm at Lake Tahoe, I'm in the lake.
Like all day.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'm out, and then I leave. Yeah.
That kind of water, how long can you stay in it before it's uncomfortable?
All day.
Really? You don't get cold at all in it?
No, Sergio, I'm not a bitch. Yeah, I've been in that lake. I went in that lake in the wintertime.
Oh, jeez.
Because I ain't a bitch. I mean, it's cold, but, you know, there was like me and two other brave souls in there.
Oh, okay.
Two other water folk, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
Willing to brave the deadly seas.
People of the sea.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll go in there all day long.
Damn. In the winter, how long were you there in it for?
I don't know, maybe an hour or two.
Damn.
As long as we were there, and when everyone was like, "We gotta go," I was like, "Bitches."
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
My brain does not compute.
Yeah. You didn't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
Bad dumb joke. It's like a subtle diss.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sergio. I didn't mean it. Your brain does compute.
Just not that.
Your brain computes so hard.
Yeah.
Your brain is the hardest computer, bro.
Did you do anything for your birthday day?
No. No, well, we had like dinner and stuff, but
Oh, okay.
and my family calls and says happy birthday and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks. Like the air sucks. So
I know.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I
like
want to go outside.
next to the river's on fire, so you didn't get to your normal float thing.
Yeah, we were supposed to do it Saturday because Edena, who's been on the show, her husband Houston, his birthday's a day after ours, so we were going to do a float like the 22nd, but then fires kicked in, so no go. This year really fucking sucks.
It really does, yeah.
God damn. I mean, it's also great for us in a weird way. But at the same time, it really sucks.
Like things happening outside of the house is just
Yeah.
all sorts of crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, it's a real big shit show. Yeah, you know, when you get like lightning in summer,
Yeah.
you're like, all right. All right, I guess we're going to actually experience revelations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like for people who don't live in Northern California, or California at all, I don't think gets like lightning storms at all during, especially August.
Yeah.
Mid-August.
We barely get them in wintertime.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, to get crazy ones this time and those assholes set fires, you know, real assholes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had to deal with that this year.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's going to be another set of fires in October. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, but yeah, you never know. Like,
It's been the tradition the last 3 years.
exactly.
So
Just like roll a dice as to where it actually hits, too. So,
yeah. I always wonder, like, you know, like you see certain areas like Houston or whatever is always flooding, you know? Like it's like, and it's like to be on the outside looking in, it's kind of, you kind of get to dismiss it and go like, oh,
right.
Like, oh, that sucks. But you don't really think about it that much. You just say, oh, that sucks. Or like,
Right,
I feel like
yeah, you're
Haiti always gets like fucked over somehow.
Right. All the hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
earthquakes and shit. And there's like certain areas, and you look from the outside and you go like, oh man, that sucks. But now that we have like fires, we're like, fuck, this sucks.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I mean, and then every time I see a hurricane, I'm like, oh fuck, it sucks for Houston. Like, like I get it now. I need to move somewhere where I can look from the outside again.
It sucks for Irana's husband.
So I can look from the outside and go, man, it sucks for California. They keep catching on fire. Where's that place? Where's the new California?
Oregon? I don't know.
God damn it. They've got all the protests going on now.
Yeah. I mean, that's like specifically Portland, but yeah, the rest is like, it's pretty redneck, most of Oregon too. So
yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, all 15 people that live outside of Portland.
Yeah.
The majority of their population is in like 3 cities.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know. But yeah, so you got some plein airing in?
Got some plein airing in.
At this point with plein air stuff, do you like learn much during it, or is it more just like a habit?
No, I'm still learning all the time, yeah. Yeah, especially doing with a new medium. In that way is
gouache.
Yeah. Leg wash.
Oh, classy. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, all the time. There's definitely like little things that you see that you want to tweak around for next time.
Right.
There's like
getting a package. Nice. Come up. Sorry. Mailman.
Yeah.
Should we play-by-play this? He's pulling stuff out the bag. Check in to see if we got anything else. No. Off to the next house.
That's been your mailman update. Your official way to dry mailman update.
Yeah. I know you guys been waiting.
Yeah. It seems to happen like every time.
Yeah.
We either choose to acknowledge it or not, but yeah, lately we have been.
The mailman is steady.
Right.
At least here in my house.
Right. That's pretty good.
But yeah, talk about current events. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
What were we saying? Oh yeah. It's for me with oil painting in plein air. It's a lot of just more refining the technique and just like not doing like careless mistakes. Is more the thing that I'm trying to just get like the bad habit sort of stuff like completely out of my system.
Right.
So I'd say it's a little bit of that with gouache too. Like gouache, it feels like it's a little bit more noticeable when you like have like drawing problems, for example. With oil paint, you can kind of hide a lot of mistakes with fancy technique.
Right.
But gouache is a little less forgiving, I feel like, when it comes to all that. At least with the way I paint.
Yeah, it sounds like my younger brother. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
A little less forgiving.
What?
It's a bad joke. All right, maybe I should have said like my mom or something. It would have been a funnier joke, maybe.
Less forgiving to your mom? Or?
No, never mind, Sergio. God damn it, Sergio. He said gouache is a little less forgiving. If I'd have said it sounds like my mom.
Oh, okay.
I get she's a little less forgiving.
I get it now.
You know, if she beats me or something.
Got it.
Why are you like this, Sergio? Why don't you just laugh at my bad jokes?
I am.
I'm just kidding. So that must help you with your drawing then.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I probably should just draw more, just like pencil to paper type of drawing. I just haven't really been doing that much. And
what kind of pencil are we talking here?
3B. I don't know.
Nice. Nice, big softy, huh?
Yeah.
I like my lead like I like my women nice and hard.
You could bounce a quarter off.
Sorry, I'm full of bad jokes today.
Yeah, like drawing in that way. Like, I don't know. I should try doing like some landscape drawing for a little while. So trying to sharpen that up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that...
Is that a pun? Was that intentional?
No, it actually wasn't. My jokes are more subtle jokes.
Oh, wow.
This episode is ridiculous.
It sounds like we're stoned, doesn't it?
It really does.
Apologies. We have no direction.
Right.
Are you gonna actually try that?
Yeah, I think so.
That?
Yeah, I think so. I think that if I get stuck on doing something the same way for too long, I always feel like I want to switch it up a little bit. So I've just been pumping out those gouache paintings, like doing them kind of the same way, the same sort of technique. So I feel like probably want to just branch out a little bit more off of it.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. God, I don't know where to go from that.
You've been working on any art things that are exciting for you?
Yeah. I mean, I have like the paintings I'm doing for New York, which I'm really, really excited about.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, I think I've mentioned it before, how like I've been thinking about story and like these three like very simple forms of like getting lost, or not getting lost, but like objects in motion.
Oh, right.
Objects colliding or objects standing still. Mm-hmm. And so this show I'm working on now is based around objects in motion. That's the title of like the show I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Did you name the show? Or,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if they like threw a concept at you. I know you don't do this.
So it's kind of like me like playing around with just different, like trying to figure out different ways of trying to tell these of doing like objects in motion. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's like I think I mentioned it before. I think it was like during the pandemic, I was doing a painting, and that's when you and Vanessa had a podcast, and me and MJ did one as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I mentioned like one called neck hair, and it was just about like that feeling you get when you take out the trash, and you're like you feel like there's like someone behind you. So like the object in motion there, I'm trying to capture is neck hair. Like it's that like feeling of like something's behind me, even though there might not be or most likely isn't.
Yeah,
it's like that feeling, and so like the object in motion is neck hair rising. So it's like that's the object in motion is neck hair. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm trying to like tackle all these like ideas. I'm trying to figure out how to portray through like the way I create art, which is usually using the female figure to tell a story. So like, so like there's usually like for instance, there's this painting I did with a bunch of floral pattern work on it.
Yeah.
And in that, I wanted the person to seem like a statue.
Okay.
Of like a godlike figure. So I want it to seem almost like the Virgin Mary.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But then there's these like, you know, like the fly eating things or like.
Oh, the Venus flytraps.
Yeah, the Venus flytraps. There you go. Couldn't think of it. And then the.
My brain computed that pretty good.
You computed so hard. And then these other like plants that look like they were like, that they're meat eaters.
Okay.
And it's with the idea of like, even though the female is like an object that's supposed to not move at all.
Okay.
She's supposed to be a statue. The moving objects are the plants.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was my like attempt to try to see if I could create like a goddess like figure that represented death, like a Grim Reaper type person.
Interesting. Okay.
And then build it around like that idea. So instead of like having her be the thing, it was the plants being the moving object in the painting.
Oh, okay.
And I have like a bunch of other, like the one I'm working on, I'm going to start working on now is called Trudge, or something around that, which is just the idea of having no purpose but just to keep moving forward and walking.
Okay.
Walking. It's like the, you know, just to keep the human mentality of like, no matter how shitty things are, that you still have the ability to just keep moving forward. So it's like this like kind of dark themed idea, but it's oddly becoming one of my more like positive paintings.
Oh, interesting.
Because it is that like will for humans just to like keep moving and with the hopes that things will get better.
Yeah. There's like this hope in it that makes it more positive. Yeah, I get that.
And so that one's like very much about a person moving through space, you know.
Okay.
But there's also like one I'm creating called Tectonic, which is just about like things sliding off of each other.
Oh, interesting.
Or, you know, these but it's trying to tackle these ideas using the human figure and thinking about it as like an object moving and how that can be related to a human's experience. So that work in general I've been really excited about.
Okay. Yeah.
And just kind of like tackling this story, like these ideas of story that I've kind of set out for myself of like 3 simple versions that I think you can tackle really well through art, and in very unique ways. And so, and very unique to art in a weird way.
Yeah.
Or at least painting, I should say, maybe, or sculpting, I think would probably be fine as well.
Right.
But like a single image, being able to capture these 3 narratives. So the object in motion one has been like really fun for me.
Nice.
And like I feel like it's really kind of made my brain grow a bit in like how to develop a story that's interesting. That's a bit off of what I normally do.
Right. So do you consider these separate from your central sort of themes of like getting lost and finding your way home and all that?
Yeah, I think that'll always be there. Like I'm using a boat and a house in the painting I'm actually working on right now, like that I'm almost finished doing. And it's just kind of like a reference. It ends up being like a narrative tool because I've worked off of those narratives for so long that even though the narrative I'm trying to tackle with that piece is very different than Finding Home or Getting Lost. It ends up being, if you know my work, you can kind of use that as like hopefully a way to figure out more about what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think I'll always kind of have those narratives like in the mix, but I'm trying to figure out how to just kind of like play around with the more simplified pullback versions of like objects in motions, objects colliding, objects stagnant or standing still or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for something like that, where you're working on a theme that's so, I guess you're trying to go at it in a unique way for you, like how do you determine how successful you are with it? Like is it all just like something you have to decide on your own, or do you like test it against like other people's reactions or something like that?
Well, I do. I mean, I always am like trying to get like feedback on people, you know, like I'll say like, hey, come and check out this piece.
Right.
But it's also like, even with like if you come to my studio and check out what I'm working on at the moment, like you might not know the title,
right? Which
I feel like is a very big like it can be a turning point in grasping the meaning of it.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
And so I'm just kind of in those predicaments a lot of times. At least now, I'm trying to figure out what people are looking at and kind of the order they're looking at, or you know, maybe they might have a criticism about something as far as like composition is concerned.
Sure. Okay.
Or execution of something. Or if MJ is always pointing out things that I think are like my favorite part of the thing.
Yeah.
But it's because I think she has like an idea of how things, I think a lot of times when you're painting something, there's an idea of how things are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to tackle something like a narrative, if you need them to, sometimes you want a contradiction, or you want something to feel out of place as a way to draw attention, or I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
As like a way of like creating,
like what we're talking about with composition the other day.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever intention you have. So if she's like, that's wrong, or that looks off, or that looks dumb, usually it's like, well, that's my favorite part, because that's kind of like hopefully leading you somewhere.
Okay.
But or making you pay attention to that area or something like that.
Right.
So we always are. I'm always getting annoyed by her feedback. Shout out to MJ.
I was gonna say, yeah. So, like, when you have something like that, how do you get people to understand that it's supposed to be wrong, though?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, I think that comes with like education of the viewer.
Okay.
I think a lot of times, like, say if I look at another artist's work, if they go a route that I think is like risky or whatever, I'm very aware of it, and it makes me wonder why.
Okay.
And I think when you create work, like there's like this struggle of like who am I creating this for? In a way that, like, it's like almost like I don't want to create this work I don't want to create a child's book, you know what I mean? Like a children's book. Like I want to create work that I'm excited about. And the hope is that, like, the people that get it.
Okay.
And I can't, like, think of, like, how to dumb things down so people can get it. And if people want to, like, ask about a certain thing, then I can explain it. But it's always like that, like, it's always like, hopefully, I mean, it's tough because it's like, you know, we live in a world where people don't put effort into anything. You know, everyone talks about how we're an Instagram 10-second feed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I look at a piece for 10 seconds, it's probably pretty good, to be honest. But it's also like, is it like, but then if you start creating with that mindset, then you're almost feeding into the 10-second stutter much into the 10-second feed.
Yeah.
So it becomes a thing where, like, if you create something not worth looking at for longer than 10 seconds, then no one will ever do it. But the hope is that I can create something that has depth or something worth listening to, in a way, or seeing to. I don't know if there's that the 10 people that might look at it for longer get rewarded with that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to try to explain shit or hope people get it. I'm just doing shit. And if people are curious and ask, like, why did you do that? I can't figure it out. Then I'm willing to explain.
I see.
But if my job is to explain my work, then fuck that. I mean, that's the worst shit possible, to be honest. Just to be sitting there being like, and I did this, because of politics and stuff like that. You know, I hate that shit so much. I hate when I see an artist standing in front of their piece and explaining it to a crowd of people. I'm like, the fuck do you need the painting then for? Just say what you think.
Right.
Like, what's the painting even exist for at that point? Because I feel this way about this thing. Okay, well then just tell people that. The painting exists to say something. Why the fuck should you? And if people can't get it and they want more clarity, I'm fine with that. But if I'm just going to stand and tell you exactly what everything means, point blank, to me, it's like I'm literally spoon feeding people at that point.
Yeah. Well, I think some people, maybe that's their aim, is to have a visual thing to supplement what they want to say with words.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like all political art is that for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're painting, what's that fucking conservative painter's name?
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
That fucking guy, or like anyone
the guy
doing
who paints
like
Trump all the time.
that fucking what a
that's hilarious.
I mean, yeah, it's funny because it's funny.
Yeah,
but like it's not funny to him.
Right.
I mean, like he's like dead serious.
Right.
So he's like, to me, he's like a full on like I mean I would probably not enjoy his company more than like liberal art because, I mean, I could, because at least there's some political art on the left that's more subtle, I would say.
Yeah.
There's also some that's not, and that shit annoys the fuck out of me too.
Yeah.
All of it annoys me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much that kind of work progresses anything or changes anyone's mind.
Right.
Or, you know, it's a pat on the back in my opinion. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
And I think art can be the most interesting thing in the world. Like art of all sorts is like where humans, I think, shine and become interesting human beings, is creating something from nothing.
Yeah, I think most political art is just preaching to the choir.
Yeah, it's everyone high-fiving each other.
Yeah, and if you think it's not, you're probably just trying to fool yourself or something.
Yeah, you're not. It's not changing anything.
Right.
But whatever. Yeah. What were we talking about? But yeah. How do we get on that shit?
It was more just that you don't want to have to stand in front of your thing and explain things.
Yeah. I just hate that shit. I hate when things get spoon-fed. I mean, I kind of did that a little bit talking about what I'm working on, but that's just for our podcast listeners.
Right. It's not something where you would like write a big caption on Instagram for it or anything.
Yeah. I'll put a title and hopefully people get it. But yeah.
How often do you get people who are genuinely interested in like learning more about it?
I mean, it's kind of crazy, like, because I have this mentality about Instagram, but there are times where like a handful of people will notice it, and I'm like, God damn, like, are you guys looking at things long?
Yeah.
And I do get stuff like that when art shows were a thing, where a few people would come and like,
oh sure,
either explain what they think it means, or like say like, why did you do this little like detail that I thought no one would pick up on?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you saw that. Good for you. Like, but I mean, for the majority of the time, for sure, like it's definitely rare. But I mean, you get what you get out of it. It's like, you ever watch a movie for the second time after you're kind of like, you know, like for instance, like Hereditary. Have you seen Hereditary?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you watch it a second time, there's so many things you catch.
Okay.
The second time around, you know, and you're like, oh, now that I kind of know the storyline, I can connect so many more dots and see so many things. It's like everything gets focused. You have to like revisit it. I forget what the fuck my point was. But you have to, you have to put that effort into it, you know, so most people will watch Hereditary and be fine and watch and go like, oh, that was a great film. Or hate it, or be terrified and lock yourself in a room with a gun or something. But yeah, but if you put that extra effort into it, you get so much more of the artistic element that they put into the work. You know, all the tiny little details that artists really focus on when they're working on whatever they're working on. And I think with art, I mean, you get that from just taking a little more time and looking at things. But yeah, it's so
for you, like your job that you've set out for yourself is to have those things to look at, like if you spend enough time with the painting. Yeah,
well, I think there's, at least for me, a big reason why I'm drawn to like narrative type stuff or whatever is I feel like whenever there's an artist that I like past technical abilities, it's always something where it feels like there's something more to it that I can't figure out. So it holds me just a tad bit longer.
Okay.
You know, it's like I can feel that there's something here, and I want to put the time to try to see if I can figure that out.
I see.
And it's also a thing I feel like that you can get better at reading. You know what I mean? Like you can see a painting and try to read it. And then the more and more you put towards towards narrative work, the better you can get at reading stuff, to the point where you're like, oh, that's cool. Like I see where they're going. And then it ends up where narratives start getting boring. And then you start exploring more complicated ideas through like a single image, through other people's work, where you go like, oh, that's fucking cool what they're doing there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, the more literate you get at reading a narrative in a painting, I think you as a viewer get rewarded and can then read more complicated paintings.
That's interesting.
Graduate from children's books to fucking, I don't know, Where the Sidewalk Ends.
Yeah, exactly. That Shel Silverstein, he's a genius.
Shout out.
Shout out. Yeah. Who do you like right now as far as like people doing interesting narrative work? Do you have anybody that pops up in mind?
I really like I always forget people's name. He's like from Brazil or some shit. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I took the picture of his mural.
Yeah, Feral Kid, Joao Ruiz.
Joao, yeah, that's right. Him and there's another guy like him, kind of. They all seem to have like this callback to like this tribal, like not fairy tale, but like this like mysticism behind like maybe like warrior culture or civilizations or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
I really like their work, although I don't like have any like emphasis in like going that direction.
Right.
What's his name? God, it's like Joel Soro or something. I can't remember. He's from L.A. I almost got him on the podcast at one point.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
But we couldn't meet up when I was in L.A.
Oh, okay. I think I know that John Brosio guy.
John Brosio, yeah. I really like his work.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if how much narratives in Kent Williams stuff, but I really think there is something to it.
I know.
Or like a loose narrative.
That's something that's always drawn me to his work too.
Yeah, Kent Williams. I mean, Carl Dobsky, I think, is like a beast at it.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely more like trying to do like a traditional narrative, like that sort of Renaissance art kind of narrative. Modern, but
like visually modern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I think that's interesting. I don't think a lot of people are actually trying to do that. Like a lot of, I guess like atelier type students kind of just end up focusing on just like a figure or something.
Right.
They don't take it as far as he does.
For sure. I feel like that guy Milo something. You know what I'm talking about? I feel like his work's a bit narrative.
Milo Hartnell.
I think so. Do with glasses.
He paints like a lot of portraits, like kind of like wonky.
Yeah, I think he's got some cool like dark humor to his work that I like. But yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of like the artists I like have some hint of narrative to it, or either that or they have like themselves a lot in their work.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like those are two big like things.
Yeah.
But yeah. And those usually more like quiet pieces that are just, I like them, but I like them for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's cool.
But yeah. I've been watching this other sports documentary called Last Chance. You have ever seen it?
I've heard of it, but no. I started watching The Last Dance, by the way.
How do you like it so far?
I think I'm almost on the last episode now.
Nice.
Vanessa and I have been watching it. She's been into it too.
Thoughts?
I totally get what you're saying about the about that, like that drive.
Yeah, how to like kind of like mind trick yourself.
Yeah. I got to that part where he's talking about the dude who never said. It's like, what did he say? Something like "good game," man.
Yeah.
Like, talking about good game.
Yeah.
Nice game, Mike. That's what it was. Yeah.
But he does it a lot. He'll do something where he's like, "They didn't shake my hand. I shook their hand. They didn't shake my hand. Okay, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna beat you so bad at the next game."
Yeah. I think the last episode we watched was where BJ Armstrong, his former teammate, was on the Hornets, and he beat him one game, and he celebrated way too hard. So I was like, "Oh, okay, that's how we're playing."
Right. Oh yeah,
and he just like killed him the rest of the series.
Yeah, he had like a really good game or something. Yeah. And he's like, okay, but I've been watching The Last Chance U, and like the opposite of that documentary where you can see how to like mind trick yourself into like being successful and like willing it, like just like into like existence, which sounds like a hippie thing, but like when you watch that, you're like, that's what willing something into existence looks like.
Right.
A man that's not willing to let anything stop him. But then like this Last Chance U is about like JC football player kids.
Okay.
Who have like, a lot of them have like this talent that can take them to, like, can really take them to the NFL. But the attention they get, which I understand is like in high school and whatever, can convince them that they're great without ever doing anything great, to the point where you can see them shooting themselves in the foot because they think they're hot shit.
I see.
Too early, and because they're like the best player in the country as a high school student, and then they, and then whatever, and then they just do dumb shit.
I see.
But I don't know. It's this interesting thing where you can kind of see how in a weird way, positive feedback could fuck you up in a weird, like how you can really let your ego get out of control.
Right.
The more you think you're the shit. So there's like this weird, like, if you compare that to like The Last Dance, where like there's definitely a lot of ego there, but the ego drives the effort in that one, where like the ego allows them to fuck around in school, do dumb shit. You know what I mean? It's like this weird thing where you can see how like you can get lost in like the thing that makes you can get lost and get pulled away from the thing that like makes you special, or why people think you're so great. And you can kind of compare that to, I feel like a lot of artists fear success or think success is selling out or things like that.
Right.
And I think a big part of that is like when you look at a lot of artists that become successful, somehow their work becomes shittier. You know what I mean? And I think that's the reason that is because of the same reason these Last Chance U kids start fucking up. It's like you lose track of like what makes you, what you're focused on and what you're trying to do, and you get stuck into like, I don't know, attention or some shit, or like spreading yourself thin or whatever it is to like, or like monetary gains or whatever, that you lose track of like the making sure over anything that like, that what your skill set is still sharp.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess probably don't want to like spoil the documentary, but like, are there people that pull themselves out of that? Yeah, there is. It's funny though, because you could almost pinpoint the people who are going to be very successful. Interesting.
You know what I mean? You can see the people who are like amazing at what they do, and they're laser focused.
Okay.
And then you can also see the people who fucked up, because a lot of the people will go to like like a D1 college school and then do something that fucks up and then they get booted and they have to go to a JC.
Okay.
So they're like these.
So that's why it's last chance.
Yeah. So they're like these really talented athletes and they've fucked up. And some of them from that fuck up learn, you know, to kind of like stop fucking up and start like focusing on what their goals are.
Yeah.
And with the hopes that you can get back to where you were going.
Okay.
So a lot of times those guys will either succeed or fail too, but it's this interesting thing where you can kind of see how much like the ego and like distractions of whatever the fuck it is, you know, like drugs or, you know, because they're so strict on that shit in college, it seems like. So for like us, it's like, I mean, especially in like, they're in like the Bible Belt or whatever, you know, so like smoking weed is like evil. You know?
Right.
So I think they did a Bay Area season last, and there I think the kids were able to smoke weed because that's just legal. You can't tell someone not to if it's legal.
Right, yeah.
And they're of age.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, colleges have different policies for that, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Like even in California, I have no idea how that works. But
yeah, you might be right because I mean, jobs can still P-test you for weed even though it's legal in the state.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, my job would do it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Not anymore. Now I'm smoking all the weeds.
Smoke weed every day.
I still don't smoke weed. Just
by the way,
meth.
are they still bothering you?
No, I'm done. Okay. I'm out.
They stopped like trying to get you back.
Yeah, they tried to get their grubby hands on me.
Yeah, R.I.P.
But yeah,
but yeah. So in the Bay Area thing, is it other things too, like crime or like women or whatever?
Well, it's crazy because you see a lot of these people and they come from like straight poverty, which is like is always going to be a fucking a weird like mind fuck because you have to, it's like you have to go back home on holidays and shit, and you know, poverty builds crime because when you're poor you want shit,
right?
And the way you get shit, you know, if you don't have certain opportunities, is you steal or you fucking do dumb shit. So it's like you'll always have that issue, and there's like fucking crazy things where it's like people's like moms are almost dying from like cancer or some shit.
Yeah,
and they have to like play a football game, and you're like, God damn. So there's all these like weird dynamics that go into like the teams where someone's like has an off week, but the coach is like on their ass, you know, and like it's like maybe at that point like give them a little slack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's self-sabotage, you know, as well, and shit like that. So, but it's just interesting to see. I really enjoy watching people who are talented at what they do, and then seeing the routes that are available, and as well as like the fuck ups that can happen along the way. Because I feel like a lot of those things can get tied into us as artists, because it really is just a single skill set you're pursuing, and then potential downfalls or like what it takes to be successful. And you can really, I think, apply a lot of those things to your own career.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
Yeah, I always find it interesting to find those kind of parallels with other disciplines like that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely cool to watch. You also see how like success can bring like financial rewards, and like they're kind of two different things in a weird way. You know what I mean?
Like, well, what specifically in that do you mean?
Like for instance, if you're not making a lot of money in art, but then you have, let's say you get like a bunch of magazine features, yada, that's success, and that can lead to financial success.
Right. Okay.
So, and I think there's a weird thing where like you can be as good as the next person, but if you don't succeed in a way, if that makes any sense, if you don't get these like markers of success, you might not get the financial gains. I mean, there's obviously other ways, but you see how like success is a route to financial gains.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean then.
So
like sponsorships, for example, things like that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it all ends up coming back to like if we were to tie that into like our artwork, it really comes back to like creating the best work you can. You know, like that whole idea of like making hits. You know, which we've talked about before. It's like I mean, I understand the hustle and things, but I think the idea. I think we talked about this last, not maybe episode of a podcast, was like, or not mini episode, but the last like full episode about like, we were talking about success and then making hits. I don't remember. Fuck that. Whatever. It was so good. It was so important.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry if your brain is hurting. Damn it. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back later. But yeah. It's just interesting to see how. So going back to like making hits, I think from there, that really has to like. I think I was talking about like. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Was like the difference between I think 2 weeks ago we talked about the difference between making like a finished piece, like something that like is like this is my artwork, and then between that and studies, you know what I mean? And like there's a value in studies and there's a value in like sketches and all these things. Yeah. But like making sure that like that those things aren't what you're considering like your artwork, like your body of work. It's like the equivalent to them like practicing versus playing a game, you know? It's like obviously there's value in practice, but the success comes from winning those games. Right, yeah. And so I think making sure like your like studies and practice and all that, you can make monetary gains through that, but like also understanding that like your artwork, like what you're considering your body of work at the end of the day, I think making sure that those are like the moments of success when it comes to your work, like making hits, you know? Yeah, yeah. Like Kanye. Yeah. I just wanted to work Kanye into the conversation.
Was that on where we're recording at when we were talking about the
no, okay. But that's kind of like, I think that's where that breeds more success. You know what I mean? When your finished work is really what you're trying to nail down, I think that can give you the gains of potentially being in a magazine or something like that. Okay. Or whatever, because it's the thing that's gonna. I think finished, like really well done finished work is really gonna point eyeballs towards you. Yeah. And then from there, hopefully monetary success or whatever the fuck you're trying to go.
Yeah, that's definitely something I don't want to lose sight of because I've been pretty much just doing studies like for like probably like the last couple months or so. And it's like I could kind of see that starting to slip away mentally a bit where it's easy to get locked into like this mode of, okay, I'm just going to like study as hard as I can. And then it's like, okay, but what am I studying for at the end of the day?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. And yeah, I could see that being like, it's another one of those sort of Instagram things where like a study is just something you could just easily see on your phone, take it in really quickly and, you know, give it a heart or whatever. So, I could see why it's easy to get like sucked into that. Right. Whereas if you're doing especially if you're not going to like post works in progress and stuff all the time, it's easy to like not have that there to like feed the beast as far as social media presence goes. But yeah, it is important to like stay doing like work that you find meaningful beyond just the technical practice.
Yeah. I think, I mean, they both play their part, and one, like the studying and practicing definitely helps the end result. But I think, you know, like you can look at artists that are only doing finished work and doing very few paintings.
Yeah.
You know, but being extremely successful at their careers.
Yeah.
You know, that fucking dude that always paints cowboys. That German dude.
Are you talking about Mark Maggiore? Yeah.
Yeah, like that dude is extremely successful.
I know.
I mean, whether you like his work or not.
This guy's Ferraris and shit. Or whatever.
Does he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's like he did like a print run recently, and I did the math, and like I don't know what cut he gets, but it was like $250,000 worth of prints. You know, you're like, that's $250,000,
right,
for one print. You know, like, I mean, I'm assuming he gets a decent chunk of that.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
So good on him,
right?
You know, and he doesn't have to do study after study. I mean, I'm sure he does studies. I mean, I know he does studies. So, but it's like he's making hits,
right?
You know, Martin Waltzworth or whatever. Everyone have a fucking bad last name.
Yeah.
Damn.
Does it have like it's like Withfuth or something?
He has like fucking no vowels in that bitch. Just all consonants. But yeah, that dude only does hits. Right?
That's true.
And he has a very successful career because we live in a world where we think everyone takes 10 seconds to look at everything. So then it kind of makes us think we need to make 10-second shit.
Right.
But if you pay attention to people making shit that makes you look longer, there's success in that. Even if it's not as much. So, you know, it's that whole idea of like, do you go towards the 10 seconds or away, or like which direction do you think is the direction that is best for your work?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not against studies at all or anything like that. I think they're definitely a good habit, and they have value, and they have monetary value. It's just making sure that when it comes, I think the making hits is where success comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not monetary value, but like real success in your career as an artist.
Yeah. Well, that's a little bit what I'm trying to juggle at the moment, because I've been looking into submitting for a lot of like juried shows and stuff. So I feel like it's a little less obvious of a route to go, rather than just, you know, putting your stuff on Instagram all the time, just putting study after study up, which I have been doing that too, but like behind the scenes trying to still focus on things that will, I guess, raise your probability of success in that way, where I feel like for example, that the Beautiful Bizarre prize that they were doing, like I submitted for that, and even though I didn't get like an award or anything, I feel like it's still worth me trying to use that as a reason to try and make a more substantial piece of work.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, for sure, artists in general use like art shows as a way to like find the time to create finished work.
Right.
So, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, any way you can do it, for sure. I mean, I'm working on a New York show.
Right.
That's why I'm creating the body of work I'm creating. And I'm not 100% sure what work, like maybe I would have created a couple of the pieces, but the fact that the show is coming up is definitely pushing me to push myself as far as like the work. So there is that benefit for sure. So it's also like, because if you're, I mean, I don't know if we should talk about it, because never mind. It's about website stuff, but tune into the mini-sode next week. But yeah. I think this all started based off the one question you said, which was you doing anything you're super stoked on.
Oh.
But other than that, then the New York show, me and MJ, we have like shitloads of murals we're doing. Like I think we have like 5 this month, next month, September.
Oh wow.
So we're like, holy fuck.
Are they all local?
No. There's one.
Oh, there's the one in Sacramento, right?
There's 2 in Sacramento and maybe 3.
Oh wow.
And then there's one in Lancaster.
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh, there's 2 here, 2 in town. And then we might have one in Healdsburg.
Okay.
Or 2. We're still figuring that out.
Yeah.
But
sounds like a packed schedule.
So busy. It's funny because like recently I've been getting a lot of like family reaching out and being like, hey, you think you can paint me this person's portrait or something? And I'm
really?
I'm like, I'm so busy right now.
Yeah. Also, your kid is not special.
Right. I mean, it's weird when it's like your nephew or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's like, it's this weird thing where it's like, I have to say no to them. And they're like, what about December? And you're like, yeah, this whole entire year I'm busy and I can't just do work that pulls me away from my work.
Yeah.
You know, at least not right now. So, I don't know.
But that's something you wouldn't want to do either way.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But yeah. Good times.
So the mural work is still coming in despite all the all the craziness of the world. That's good.
Yeah. It's the ace in the hole, what they say.
Well, I guess you haven't had that much experience before all the 2020 craziness, but
no.
Have you noticed any difference when it comes to finding that work?
Not yet. No. I mean, we're new at this shit, so
right.
So like Jet Martinez would be like the one to be like, you seen the slowdown?
Right.
For us, it's like, I mean, even that, that pink wall out there that we did, like we did that literally a year ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that was like our like first like real like mural attempt, which is like crazy to think that like that was like a year ago, and from there to like where we are now as far as like mural work, it's like a year difference is like such a huge like maybe not jump technically, maybe like there's definitely a jump technically, but like as far as like opportunity, it's like it's crazy.
Oh really?
It's like as far as that compared to, and I don't know if this is a thing where it's like based around skill, or I'm sure it's like a handful of multiple things, but it's just compared to.
It seems like it's more of an ability to create opportunity for yourselves and just learning how to do that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it, and having the skill set to back that up, is another big thing.
Right.
But yeah.
Do you? I don't know if like the people who hire you for murals, are they ever like, oh man, this is like. You're so like such a pleasure to work with, like compared to like other muralists or anything like that.
I don't know if I've had.
Because I'm wondering if there's anything to do with that too, like the level of professionalism that goes into that when it comes to like getting the work and getting more opportunities because of it.
I'm not sure yet. I think I'm too early on in this bitch to.
Yeah.
And I've never had that experience. Although they usually say, Josh, you're the coolest person I've ever met. And I'm going to name my child after you. And I've only known him for a week. So,
right.
Let that sink in.
Yeah. And then they're like, MJ, she's all right.
She's all right. And what's her name again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty cool. It's that's what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
People think you're cool, Josh.
yeah. There was this one person who thought it was a PC.
Yeah, that's right.
But other than her, I've been great.
You have been educating yourself too, right?
Yeah, that is true. I am more educated.
Inside jokes.
Yeah. But how are we on time?
We're at hour 6.
Hour 6.
Hour number 6.
Like, it was 6 hours. Holy fuck!
Yeah,
It's almost sunset.
you don't have to record it all for a second. Yeah. Now we're at 6 minutes in to hour 2.
Wait, what?
6 minutes into hour 2.
Okay, that was the most complicated.
I don't know why I said that way.
We are at hour 6 divided by 2 minus 1 plus 3 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Cool. We did it. Did you? Is that good? Are we good?
Well, we still have an hour or a little under an hour.
What do you mean?
To get to 2 hours.
Oh, so so we're at hour 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
An hour and 6.
I was like, damn, that was 2 hours. That was fast. Not even close.
Not even close.
You made it even more complicated than I thought.
I know, I really did.
All right.
We were at T minus 50.
You said 6 minutes into hour 2, and I was like, all right, so that's 2 hours and 6 minutes. All right, cool. Oh, I get what you meant now.
Yeah.
But the way I read it was like, okay, cool. What was that topic you wanted to bring up?
Let's see. Oh, we're talking about the game within a game.
Oh, game within a game.
Yeah. That made me. What do you call it? The Last Dance documentary made me think of that because, like Jordan was talking about, like how much he's mastered, like the basic game of
Jordan. You might have to clarify.
Jordan Peele. No. Michael Jordan, of course.
Okay.
Where he's talking about...
I hear he's a goat.
I hear that too. Heard, pray tell.
I'm like, he's a human being, people. Get educated.
Yeah. He was talking about how like much he's mastered just like the basic game of basketball. Mm-hmm. And he like kind of has to come up with like ways to make it interesting for himself just to get like psyched up.
Right.
And so like I was just thinking about like how you get to a certain point with your art that you have to kind of come up with new ways to keep it interesting for you. I feel like you kind of touched on that a bit with like the way you think of narrative, like
right.
And so for me, like kind of thinking about, okay, now like what's the next thing I'm gonna do to expand on, like for example, like all the paint drip stuff I've been doing. Like, okay, what will I do next to keep this interesting, or else I'll just stop doing it. And like I don't know, are there other things besides narrative that like keep you interested in that in a way, like that you're like coming up with like ways to keep yourself into painting?
Yeah, I mean, so like let's say like so narratives is great because you can literally go any direction. So obviously when we're kind of becoming artists, technical ability can really make you grow. Like the learning of technical ability becomes this thing that like you really get excited about because you can see growth every year. You look back at a year ago and you're like, yeah, fuck that loser. You know, like I'm the shit now. And you can steadily see that growth. And I think at some point, even though we continue to grow technically, I think there becomes a slower growth process that isn't as exciting. But I think there's so many like little moving parts to art that you can get good at. So I think technical ability is usually the first. I think it's the main thing you should focus on when starting to become an artist, whatever the fuck that means.
Right.
But like narrative, I think is one thing that has like endless possibilities and for me can keep me learning in different avenues and like growing. But I think another another good thing for artists to focus on in general is like really trying to figure out like your unique take on things.
Yeah.
I think that's a defining thing of pretty much any artist who's like successful.
Yeah.
Is their unique take on anything, on even painting, on the technical ability, your unique take on the technical skill and how you apply the paint.
Yeah.
It's totally unique to you, or whatever. And I think in that bubble of whatever it is, it doesn't, you can do that in so many different ways. You can do that in the unique way you tackle painting, the unique way in which you use narrative, the unique way in which you display your work or create your work, whether that be like scale or whatever. It's like, and trying to figure out what's unique to your work. People might call this style or whatever the fuck, but I think it can, it doesn't have to even be style. It just is your, I don't know.
That style just ends up being what other people call it. But
yeah, exactly. If you think about like skateboarders, there's always like, you'll hear skateboarders talk about skaters and they'll say like, you can put a silhouette up to this person, up to each skater and make them all do the same exact trick. And I could tell you who's who, just based off of their unique body, creating this unique movement.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you can call it style or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and there's life experience. So everyone's got a different life experience. So does that add to your art or is it even present in your art or whatever? Like, I mean, people love to make that the center of their art, whether it be their race or whatever, that's the center of, or their political view or whatever it becomes the center of their work. But I think, I mean, I don't, it's never going to be the center of my work, but I think it influences it. My life experiences
of course,
are always going to influence, especially narrative stuff. So it's like all these unique point of views that you want to take. There's always going to be growth and like figuring out how to apply that to your work, which I think is exciting and a game within a game.
Yeah.
Do you have any other like things that you like as far as a game in a game? Do you
a little bit here and there, like especially we were talking about composition last week. Like there's so many little mini sort of puzzles that you create. Like for me, I guess like the game becomes like the problem solving. You can like drill down into smaller pieces, and those all become little games within themselves. I mean, maybe game isn't even the right word to use for it, but it's still
activities within activities.
Right. Or even just like thought, like breaking down your own thoughts about it into like smaller categories.
Sure.
Like the color scheme you come up with for the piece that can be a kind of a game within itself for you. And I more just call it a game because like all that becomes like really enjoyable, like trying to figure all that stuff out, like the best color scheme for whatever you're going for, or the best arrangement for the things within your subjects that you're putting on the canvas, and even just like deciding what you're even going to paint on and how you're going to paint it. Like even though you have to all consider it all as one big puzzle, like all the different little sections of the puzzle can kind of come together, and you can work on them all individually, but like having them not feel too separate from each other.
Well, I think that's like, you know, like composition, I'm assuming has an association with like compose.
Right.
Which, like, if you think of like an orchestra, it's kind of like that. It's like all these like different instruments trying to create like this harmonious sound or whatever.
Right.
So obviously the violinist isn't attached to the tuba player because that guy's a loser.
Yeah.
But they're all like creating something, so they all have moving parts,
right?
And they all have to focus. You have to like pay attention to each moving part separately, but knowing that they all have to kind of end up working together.
Yeah, and figuring that out is super fun.
Yeah,
it can be.
And I think a lot of times when things get boring for me with an art, it's when I'm not pushing myself. And when I'm kind of just stagnant as far as like ideas, but I think that I am very aware when I'm bored of like when I'm creating, and my attitude personally is always like, all right, I just have to like do something different. Like I have to figure out how. Like I never sit in that long, you know. And I think that might be the issue a lot of people have is if you get pigeonholed to do something, or if you feel like your fan base will leave based on, you know, the fact that you change shit up. I think a lot of those like fears when it comes to artwork is what makes people bored and mad, and like all these like negative emotions towards their art or artwork in general, is because they feel like this thing that they love is now owned by someone else.
Right. Yeah.
When it's not, that shit's yours. But yeah, the creative part, I feel like I'm always like that whole like complicated problem solving thing to me is just, I always enjoy that, you know. It's always, for the most part, it is always extremely fun to figure out how to, I mean, you know, like I used to when Wonderland was open, I used to show a lot with him, and he used to have a lot of theme shows, and I used to always try to figure out how to enjoy a theme show that I hated the theme to. You know, I was never gonna do something that was obvious, because I'm like, I'm gonna be bored as fuck painting this thing. So I was always trying to figure out some way of making it fun for myself, more than anyone else. And I think that reads when you look at the work in general, because it's like, if I'm bored, I don't know what it is, but you can read that shit. Like, I don't know why. It's like, I can see when an artist is bored. You know what I mean? And some artists aren't like that. Some artists will paint the same shit for fucking years, and you can still see that they're excited about that shit. And I'm like, I don't get it. I mean, I do get it to a point. There is something about like painting something repetitive and doing like subtle tiny changes that for you as an artist can like be exciting still. But for the most part, most people won't care or notice. And it's fine as an artist in that way, but I think most people at some point get bored and they're like, all right, I'm done with this.
Right.
But
what was the last thing you feel like you got bored of and had to move on from?
When I was doing mixed media stuff, that was a big one. I was like, this feels like I'm just doing step, next step. Okay, done.
I see.
Yeah, that was a big one for me. I was like,
that was years ago at this point now.
Yeah, I think it might be 3 or 4 years now. I'm an oil painter now. Check me out, Mom. But yeah, I'm
that's cool.
But that was like a big one where it was like, I feel like I'm getting bored, and then it was really like within like, I think one show.
Oh, really?
I had a show at 1 a.m. in San Francisco, and I was like, I did the work, and I was like, that was so fucking boring. And I was like, I think I'm done here. And then at that point,
were you feeling bored all throughout it, or did you just like afterwards be like, I didn't really have fun doing it?
Throughout it.
Oh, okay.
It was like I did do 4 pieces for them. And the 4 pieces I did, and I was like, that was really easy and really boring. And I it's almost like I could see it in the work. It was like, that work is boring. And maybe people didn't think that, but to me, I was like, that shit is boring. And right before that show, the work I did, I was really excited about. But it was almost like that was like the best version of that style that I think I could do.
Okay.
And so at that point, I was like, I did it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, I think it's time to figure out what to do next. And that's when I started like looking around and seeing like paying attention to like other artists and really what medium they were using.
Yeah.
And what their capabilities within that medium were. And that's why I decided oil was just like, it seems like the one style that like I can go any route I want.
Right.
Or one medium. I can go any direction I want.
I see. Yeah. That's interesting that you feel like you couldn't do that with mixed media anymore.
Yeah. And I'm still kind of like a little bit mixed medium. Like there's still like little things I do. I'm like, I know I'm probably not supposed to do this.
Yeah.
But it was just that specific style of mixed medium that I was like, and I wasn't trying to like be like the mixed media person either.
Yeah.
You know? It's like I just need the medium to like let me do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose what I chose. But yeah, that was the last time I was bored. How about you?
The last time I really felt like I needed to change things was when I was getting bored of doing the painted roses stuff.
Oh, yeah. When I yelled at you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Forgot about that part. I blocked that out.
It's like traumatized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me, it's me or the patterns.
To give you an ultimatum.
Yeah.
I want to be your painted rose.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, even just beyond that, just like doing figurative stuff just for the sake of doing it. Like just feeling like I need to come up with something else for it to make it, I don't know, be more meaningful for me, I guess. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm still like really interested in painting landscapes and stuff, but I guess right now, just not feeling as into doing the studio stuff right now. But that's always a phase I go through like every year.
Right.
It's really based on like how much I want to be in the studio or not.
So when like, for instance, right now you're not trying to be in the studio, but is your mind like trying to like, because I find like with me a lot of times I'm like I'm always trying to figure out what I want to do next.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's enough time in the day where I can be working on a painting and hyper focused on it while I'm working on it and thinking about it. But there's always going to be a moment, like there's always going to be ideas like, oh, I really want to tackle these ideas with my work.
Yeah.
And then trying to figure out how to like the direction or the way to tackle that idea. So like with your studio work, because you're trying to kind of redefine the reason why you create this body of work, has there been progress in that, I guess?
Here and there, I've been trying to do a little bit more thinking about that lately, just in the terms of doing the studies, like, what am I actually doing these studies for? Is it just to try and sell them or whatever, or what about this am I going to plug back into my studio work when the time comes for that? And I've definitely thought about that more with because I've been doing this little gouache landscape thumbnails from photos I took on all the trips I've been going on. And so looking at that and being like, okay, I'm learning to do like these really effective kind of color studies, and how much of that can I actually bring into the studio, or am I just going to like fall back on, trying to render things like super realistically,
right?
Or how do I like actually blend those things together? And like I have a couple of like figurative ideas in my head that I'm definitely going to work on too. But for me right now, what's interesting me about the future is like all these little things I've been building up for like the past half a year or so that it's been like on lockdown, and shows have been more or less on hold. Like how much of that am I going to make the effort to bring in, and what will I kind of leave behind after all this is like kind of back to normal again?
Right.
So yeah, I haven't quite figured that all out yet. I don't think I will until I actually like get back in the studio, but there's probably just another like month or so of doing things how I am right now.
Right, for sure. Until it starts getting chilly, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I find it so hard to be in the studio during the summer unless I have a show I need to be in the studio for.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. And it's hard for you to think about being in the water when it's wintertime.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Unless it's a hot tub, then sign me up.
Fuck hot tubs. I hate them.
Do you really?
I hate hot tubs.
This is a way to dry hot take.
I'll be in a pool in wintertime while people are in the hot tub. I don't fuck with hot tubs.
Not at all?
Not at all. I mean, if MJ forces me to go in one with her, I'll go in there, but I'm not happy about it.
What do you hate about them?
That they suck. That they're not good. I don't know. I don't. It feels like, I don't know. People find it relaxing. I find it uncomfortable.
Okay.
I just don't like hot water that much.
Okay.
Like all summer long, I take as coldest showers as I can take.
Really?
In the wintertime, I take medium temperature showers at, like, if it's a hot day. If it's like a freezing day, I'll take a medium, like warmish shower.
Oh my God, you're a maniac.
I don't fuck with super hot water. I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't drink hot drinks. Fuck coffee and go fuck yourself. Soup though, I fuck with soup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite soup?
I don't know. Something with some beef in it.
All right.
Beef and vegetables.
A nice stew.
A nice stew. I like all soups though. I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite though. I can get down with like a really good chicken noodle soup. But it has to be like made. You know what I mean?
Not like out of the can or anything.
Fuck, a can soup. What are we talking about here now? Now we're getting ridiculous. Canned soup should never be in cans. They can go fuck themselves. Yeah, Chef Arti, shots fired. Campbell Soup, Warhol, all you fuckers can go fuck yourself. Unless you want to sponsor this podcast. And then, tasty.
Yeah.
I don't even know Chef Arti makes a soup. Sorry, guys. Progressive? Is that a soup?
Oh, Progresso? Yeah.
Progresso.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Progresso. Also, Chef Arti, pasta shouldn't be in a fucking can, you bitch.
That's also
Fuck
true.
your can of ravioli mush. I just started in beef with canned people. Canned fruit, fuck yourself. Canned fruit should be fresh, you sick fucks.
I don't like canned fruit at all either.
Fuck that. What else is in beans? I can eat some canned beans. That's about it.
Really? It's an interesting one.
Tuna.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, canned beans aren't great, but like you can like add stuff to them to make them good. I guess they're like, I mean, fresh beans are always going to be better, obviously.
Right.
Or yeah. What are we talking about here? It's become a fucking...
It's a bit saucy.
A bit saucy. Oh, fuck. So is this some kind of hypnotism thing you do?
Yeah. What do you think of ramen and pho now? Those are soups.
Enough said. Yes, ramen and pho. Those fucking Vietnamese and Japanese know how to make some fucking soup.
They do.
Yeah, I don't know. What the fuck were we talking about? How do we get on soup?
I don't even remember.
How do we get on hot water? Okay, studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I'll see. I guess we have to wait and see what winter brings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have you thought about like things, because you do so much landscape stuff and figurative stuff, but rarely together? Is there this melting? I mean, you do. Nice. You do these like people in like nature.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
It's actually been a really long time since I attempted that.
There was someone in Mustardville recently you painted, so...
Oh, that's true.
Wow, Sergio. Wow. Okay.
Called out. Sorry, Vanessa. I know you're listening. Hello. Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. And I do have plans on stuff that I already shot that I'm going to paint more of.
Yeah.
But yeah, beyond that, I'm not totally sure yet.
And you don't really do urban landscape stuff, huh?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
I do like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that interests me because of like the way that you can mess around with simple shapes when it comes to man-made stuff like that.
How dare you?
What do you mean?
I think they're very complicated shapes.
Okay.
Box.
Cylinder.
No pyramids. Very rarely a pyramid. Or a sphere.
That's also true.
Conspiracy?
Yeah.
Let's hear them.
Maybe that's why I'm known as the sphere in triangle painters.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. With all your friends and fans.
Right.
Have you seen his new spheres?
Yeah.
Groundbreaking.
You have to pick one of those up. But yeah, urban landscape stuff.
Because the reason I ask is because they're like, for instance, a human in like your nature scenes isn't common. Do you know what I mean? Like say if I go to
compared to like being in a city.
Yeah, or even if I go to Yosemite, right? I'm not going to take a picture of El Capitan with some fuck in it, you know?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that there's no fucks in it.
Right, yeah.
But if it's like a cityscape, I assume that like the people add to the visual. Do you know what I mean? Like I even saw like someone put a printout of a mural they did, and there was a person walking in front of the mural.
Oh, really?
And I was like, that's interesting. How like oddly the person walking in front of it makes it kind of more interesting because murals have to do with scale.
Yeah.
You know, but there's something about like the urban or landscape that like is less distracting if a human's in it, let's say. Or
interesting. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like I know Kim Kogan's work almost never has.
Agree with me or else.
Agree with you.
No, I'm not saying like you can paint a city landscape without humans in it for sure. But what I mean is like if you paint a person in the landscape.
Oh, where the figure is a central subject.
Or anything. If a figure's in it, it's oddly more. It feels more in place than if there's a beautiful nature with a human in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it feels like that person isn't out of place or isn't placed there.
Right.
Which is I mean, I'm just bringing up a point. I mean, you can do whatever, like, people can do whatever the fuck they want.
Right.
And, like, anything can be done well or whatever. I just think of, like, I'm just bringing it up as far as, like, have you thought about the cityscape as, like, a landscape with people in it? Because I don't think I've seen you do that, or at least not. I think your older work, you had, like, people in front of graffiti and, like, trains and stuff. So I guess that would probably be the way I've seen you do it before.
Yeah. I think just like what I'm drawn to aesthetically just like led myself away from that more. I do find it interesting as well though, like visually finding like these textures that you're probably not going to be able to find in nature otherwise.
Right.
And like it's fun to think about the possibilities there. I haven't really thought of anything that would make me really want to go back and do something like that again.
Because I think we talked about last week, like how like a restaurant scene, or like say for instance, if we went and like photographed, there's like taco trucks by my house. If we photograph taco trucks at night, in my head, I could think of like interesting composition based off like the lighting they have there, and like the angle I might take to try to capture a broad scene. And this might not necessarily be like cityscape stuff, but it's a human. It's like humans within an environment.
Right, and that's definitely within the range of being a like urban environment. So yeah, just hasn't really been something I've thought about going for yet.
Yeah.
But who knows?
For sure. I was just curious because I'm just based off of like the fact that you're thinking about what you're doing in your studio work. I'm just trying to pick your brain about I'm just trying to figure out what direction you're going. So.
Yeah. Well, right now, like, there's definitely some landscapes from like the areas up in Oregon that we went to recently that I'm excited about trying to tackle as well, and trying to think about it in different ways than I have before. The different ways being more pushing maybe color and mood a bit more, rather than like going for different subject matter, just attempting the same subject matter, but like focusing on different aspects of picture making, such as like composition and color and even, a bit like mood and atmosphere, just in a slightly different way than I have before.
Those things are all like, I feel like they can be done so well and add so much. Like the mood and atmosphere of a painting can really like, I mean, as far as like cohesiveness, can really tie something together and
for sure
and add so much to it. But here's a random question, by the way, which is kind of a segue.
All right.
But it has to do with landscape painting, which is, you know, like you ever look at like the old like landscape painters who painted like, they would paint like a fucking like a triple waterfall with like a fucking rainbow coming out. And, all of that stuff. When you go to like, let's say if you go to like this beautiful scene, right, where you're like, holy shit, this is fucking like one of the most gorgeous landscapes I've ever seen. Is there a part of you that goes like, I don't want to paint that because I don't want to do like the triple waterfall with the rainbow and the
for sure,
and the unicorn? Like,
to me, it's a little bit the equivalent of like spoon feeding the what you were saying, the like narrative,
right?
Because it's just like, it's just all there for you. Like there's no subtlety within it at all,
right?
And like, I mean, there definitely been artists who've, even though they go to epic scenes, they even play it up even more, like the like those triple waterfalls with the rainbows and all that. It's like they probably didn't see that all in one scene. They probably took it in and took a bunch of studies and just added more to it. Like, oh, this area needs a rainbow. Let me paint it in.
It was really just a guy holding a garden hose.
Yeah, exactly.
With his finger on the thumb. Or his thumb on the hose, so it makes the rainbow.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
And and then, well, if that's the case, pretty talented.
Right, exactly. I'm not knocking that.
It's like you look at the title and it's like, it says thumb on hose. And you're like, fucking hell.
Right.
That's hilarious. I might have to think about the thumb on hose.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Some dark comedy to be found in that.
Yeah. Potential. Potential.
This is why we have podcast guys to bounce ideas off each other.
Don't be surprised if you see a fucking title called of my painting that looks dark. It's called Thumb on Hose with a rainbow somewhere hidden in there.
Yeah. But yeah, in that way, like I like to find things that are more subtle. Like I rarely like to paint the scenes that people like the postcard scenes. Mm-hmm. I usually like to find something that I think is...
Can you plein air it? Yeah.
And so that's usually things that I feel like, oh, I'm glad I saw this. Let me see if I can explain to people through a picture why I think this is beautiful.
For sure.
And yeah, and sometimes it's pretty easy. Like if you find a good sunset, like it's hard for me not to want to like go for that. But for me, like the more interesting thing is finding, I don't know, something within the landscape that's lit in a unique way.
Like lit, like hella lit?
Yeah. Oh, I'm too out of touch now.
Like whap?
Yeah, like whap. Like
make your pull-out game weak. I just keep saying that line because I have TikTok now, so I know that part.
I've only listened to that song once.
So I've only listened to the song once as well. No, I listened to it twice, back to back. We were driving, and I told MJ, put that song on. I want to hear it. And I heard it, and I was like, play it back. Play it back. That song is comedy.
It is, yeah.
That's so funny. But yeah, make that pull-out game week.
Make that what? The pull-out game?
Pull-out game week. Yeah, I don't know who writes Cardi B's songs for her, because I know she has a bunch of ghostwriters. But whoever they are so fucking talented at understanding who they're writing for.
Oh, yeah?
They're goddamn geniuses. Give them a Nobel Peace Prize, or what's the writing one?
What is it? Is it Pulitzer?
Give them a fucking Pulitzer. She says something about like the dangly thing in the back of your throat. It's like, who wrote dangly thing in the back of your throat with the knowledge that that's exactly who should be saying dangly thing in the back of your throat?
So like they literally like wrote that lyric.
I assume so, because how could you fucking rhyme at something with dangly thing in the back of your throat without saying that?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But if they did, Pulitzer.
That is a good point. Know your audience.
Yeah. No. If you're creating for Warhol, know who you're creating for. You know, for all you Banksy people out there right now, the current day Warhol.
Oh yeah, that's true, right? He kind of is.
Yeah. He has people creating his work for him. So yeah, if you're out there working for Banksy and you're listening to us, just know who you're creating for, and make that pull-out game week. Sorry. Well, lit. We got on this because you said the word lit, which you should know better. Right. You should know better, Sergio. So something like well lit, like your backpack over there. That's pretty interesting.
My backpack.
Your maroon.
Oh yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's something you referred to it once before. Like you said, like it's this weirdly old-fashioned backpack.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it feels retro or some shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I said.
I don't. Yeah. Never mind.
I feel like I have the perfect way of saying things just dumb enough.
Just like the dangly thing.
Yeah. I am the Cardi B of art podcast.
Yeah. We established that a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Did we say that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. That's great. That was fucking great. Yeah. I mean, I totally get that. By the way, talking about your backpack and lit, there's a new game called Can You Still Life It?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Can I still life it?
Can you still life it?
What do you got for me? The backpack?
Well, the backpack was today.
Okay. I can't because it stays here.
Yeah. Or can you? But yeah, I kind of have to pee. Should we pause this?
Sure. We're almost done anyway.
Are we? How
Hour
much longer?
48.
Should we call it? We can call it, right?
Yeah.
Well, do we have anything else to talk about?
When is your New York show? In case you
November.
Okay.
Still a bit away.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to finish a lot of pieces. Hopefully, it's like, I feel like with art shows, we've said it before, but it's like a fucking snowball effect. It's like you start working on it and you're kind of like slow and steady, and then it gets closer and you get like busier, and then by the fucking end, you're like, oh, sleep. That's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got like 4 pieces I'm hoping to finish by the time I have to ship these out. So yeah. Plus we have these fucking September is like gone.
Oh us. Yeah.
So we have October to put in work.
Are you kind of putting studio stuff on hold a little bit for September, or you still got to work through that?
I don't know. I'm going to try to. I have like all these ideas, and I'm trying to set it up so that if I have time, but it's so fucking hard to like. I think I'm going to end up doing a lot of background stuff.
Oh, okay.
That way I can like have it done and have the figures, and then just paint in the figures like when I have the time to.
I see.
If I have time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, usually, I go back and forth on, at least nowadays, I go back and forth on like background first or last or whatever. But for the next few paintings, I'll probably do background first.
Nice.
Good times.
That's cool. You like doing background first a lot of time?
I usually do it. I used to do it only last. I never did it first.
Oh, okay.
And then with this body of work, I've been playing around with it, and for some pieces I enjoy it, and other pieces it's like it's got to be at the end. But it just depends on the piece.
I see.
So yeah.
Nice.
So I enjoy both right now. They're both interesting in their own little way.
It's that game within a game.
Game within a game. Gang.
Yeah. For me, I actually have a painting that will be on display at the Petaluma Art Center. There was speaking of juried shows, there was a show that I got into, but they kept pushing the show date for months because of, obviously the stuff not being able to open.
Happening?
Yeah, exactly. There's a little thing called the quarantine. So yeah, they're finally opening that. Like there's supposed to be a reception September 5th, social distancing required. But the cool thing about it, other than like possibly getting some prize money, is that they'll be displaying the art on banners in Petaluma possibly. That's one of the perks of that. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice. Nice. You're gonna have a bandana?
A bandana, yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah. Gang.
Gang, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's like the first show I've been in like forever.
Yeah. And that's weird times. It's crazy to think that like, fuck, were you in a show around March or not? Or
yeah.
you were in something for
Modern Eden?
Modern Eden,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what my last show was. Fuck,
Damn.
I can't remember. I'd have to look at like a picture. I did something for
Did you do something for a band recently?
a band.
Or not recently?
Oh,
but
I did the coaster show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. All right. God damn it. I was hoping it was going to be 20. I don't know.
17.
Yeah. I've been dead for 10 years.
Yeah. He hasn't owned this house in 25 years.
Yeah. I don't know why the fuck everyone knows. Isn't that a commercial?
Is it?
I think
Probably.
so. Somehow everyone knows it. Awesome. Well, yeah, if you're in the Lumi area, Petalumi, they can check it out, right?
Yeah, they should be able to check it out. I'm not sure like when normal like gallery hours will be open for that show, but yeah, hopefully you'll see my stuff on banners around downtown. I don't know.
Nice. Have you seen a quick little segue? But have you seen that the thing? They're like outdoor art gallery things in Santa Rosa.
Kind of.
And
Are they like the decorated kind of parklet things?
No, not that. It's like a little like almost as like the size of like an old telephone booth.
No.
But, it's like and then there's like a plexiglass, and then you can like go online, scan this like those little like square code thingies. I forget
Yeah,
what the fuck
the
they're called.
QR codes.
QR codes, yeah. And then you can pick a painting in the gallery, and then you have to pick it. You have to put another painting in.
I don't think I understand that.
I don't get it that well either. It's almost like a barter system thing where you get to. It's kind of like it's like a Free Art Friday type deal, but like you get to take a piece out, but you have to put a piece in.
Oh, okay. Like a physical piece of art?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
there's like
it's kind of like,
drawings and paintings. And
what do you
stuff.
call it? Have you seen those like little library? They're called like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like
that, but for art.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But so me and MJ, we had to go downtown because I'm doing one of the parklet things.
Okay.
And so we saw it and we walked up to it, and she was like, "Oh, there's one of those outdoor gallery thing. Let's go check it out." And I was like, "What is it?" And so we went and looked, and there was someone put $1 with the letters WAP on it. Make that pull out game week. So yeah, so I thought it was hilarious because they like scribbled it on. It was like they were just like, "Give me this painting for $1." That's pretty much what they fucking did.
I see.
But yeah, so I think
art.
Yeah, what we should do is go bring pennies and then put a penny in there and take out the $1. That's 100% profit right there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we did it.
Yeah.
This has been Waiting Dry. If you're still listening, fuck off.